Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. I'm at the New School for my Screen Actors Guild Foundation BroadwayWorld Conversation Q&A series, which celebrates the vibrant theater community here in New York City and the union actors who aspire to have a career on both stage and screen. My guests today are the stars of the new Broadway musical, It Shoulda Been You. Please welcome Harriet Harris, David Burtka, Lisa Howard, Montego Glover, Sarah Boggess, and Chip Zien. Enjoy.
It should have been you, and would have been you, if she'd only had the common sense to take my word that you were it. I told her he's always been around you, might as well make him legit. Once you find a decent fit, you keep him on. It should have been you, instead of this John.
Brian.
He's got a tattoo. Do you have a tattoo, Marty?
No.
It should have been you.
Well, hi there. This is such a fun Madcap musical. What are you each enjoying the most about doing It Shoulda Been You?
I'll start. I love the journey that we take the audience on. At first, I think they don't know what to expect, and then they take a really great ride with us, and we can hear them audibly expressing their joy at the journey. That's my favorite part.
Should I go? I've been in like 78 Broadway shows, and or 90, and I've never in my life have I heard like the laughs that we get. Like Harriet says something, it's like an atomic bomb has just gone off in the theater. It's so the audience response is like surfing on a wave of love. I don't know. It's fantastic.
I would say, can I?
Montego.
Thank you. I would say the company. I really love this group of actors. Everyone is so skilled and so crafted and so genuinely collaborative and funny and great to work with. It's really a joy to be at work every day.
That's 100% what I was going to say, except not so eloquently. I just unhealthily love everybody in the theater. Thank you so much.
And I was going to say the same thing too, except I also like putting on false eyelash. I don't know, the company or false eyelash.
I love rooming with Edward Hibbert.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't had that experience, I hope you do at some point in your lifetime.
Who rooms together? Are some of you sharing?
We're together.
Yes. My ego and I are together.
Yeah, I take a little corner of Edward Hibbert's room. I'm off to the left. Should you come in there, I'm the guy cowering in the left-hand corner.
And when Edward saw that the two of them were, they were going to room together, he said, "That's good. That's good casting. That is. That's very good casting."
And I room with Ann L. Nathan, who plays Aunt Sheila and Mimsy.
So who is the go-to dressing room? Is there a hangout dressing room like before? Okay.
Ours, Grand Central. Yeah.
Lisa and Sarah.
It's the spiritual center of the show.
It is actually. Yeah.
Shocker.
It is.
It's got like peanut butter pretzels and a Himalayan salt lamp.
Yeah.
So it's got sort of everything in
Yeah.
it.
Uh-huh.
So it's all about the treats.
Well, smudge sticks, treats.
Yeah, we'll sage you. We will sage
All that
you.
stuff, yeah.
There's like stones in there.
Yeah, you pick a stone every night. It has a different word that you're supposed to think about.
It's all sorts of amazing new wavy stuff that, of course, I believe in wholeheartedly.
Chip pulls a stone every night, and he's like, "What does this even mean?" And it's like love or it's like it's not that hard. But he's like, "Oh, this isn't. What is this?"
I'm troubled if it's a verb or an adjective. I just can't follow the whole thing. But
How did this show happen for each of you? Because some of you did it at George Street and some of you joined for Broadway.
I will take that one first because I was there at the first table read of it, and I've known Brian and David for a long time, and I was doing a show here in New York, and they said, "Will you come and do this?" And I thought, "Oh, that's a lot of fun," and it was part of the BMI workshop, and that Brian and Barbara had developed this, and they wanted to hear a reading of it, and we sat around and read it, and I just thought, well, this is funny. And then Brian said, well, I'm glad you like it because I wrote the part for you. So that was really lovely. And he said, if we ever get to do anything or go anywhere, if you want the part, it's yours. So I didn't want the part. But I very much wanted to do it and have been always hoping that we would get to move it along. And we've done workshops of it, and there was a production out in Seattle that I don't think any of us really, except for the script, was involved with. And then we did some more workshops here, and then we went to George Street. where
Yeah.
lovely Lisa.
Right. Well, and I had joined when they did the presentation at NAMP,
At NAMP.
at National Alliance of Musical Theater. But I don't remember where in the process, like how far from the BMI workshop that was, or if you had done more than a table read before we did that presentation.
think
Do you
so.
know?
Yeah, I think so.
So
I
I
think
came
we've done
in
a sort of a-
couple steps after the very beginning, but still quite a while ago because
Yeah.
it's been kicking around for a while. So I did that first. Presentation because wasn't the full show. It was a 30-minute selection of the show, and then I went on to do the subsequent readings and then the George Street production, and the rest is history.
Sarah, for you.
I had seen the production because I had just done masterclass with Tyne Daly. So we all took a little field trip as a company that it had just closed, and we went on the train and we went to George Street and we saw them do this incredible piece. I thought it was so funny, and that was it. That's all that I knew of it, is seeing Tyno in the show and just enjoying it so much. And then I think it was like a year later or something, I just got a random phone call saying they would like you to play Rebecca Steinberg. And I was like, in this piece called It Shoulda Been You, I was like, oh my God, I saw it, yes. I was like, yep, thank you. And then it was still a couple years later until actually it came to be. So, yeah.
Montego, for you.
Late last summer, I was doing the gala for the George Street Playhouse, and Lisa was there, and I remember she sang before I did, and she sang this song called Something Something. She was just tearing it up, and I was like, yes, do it, Cut to me at the Old Globe Theater this past fall, and I get a call saying, hey, casting would love to see you for It Shoulda Been You, and I was like, I'm not done with my play, but tell them thank you so much, and if I get back to New York in time, that'd be great. And I was like, I'm sure they'll find somebody, it'll be great. Well, I get back to New York, and casting goes, still looking, want to come in? And I was like, yeah. So I came in, I sang, I read, I got the job. Yeah.
Chip, for you.
I don't know. I heard Mandy turned it down, and no, I was sitting at home and I got a call from my agent saying like, you have this offer to do February. There's a show called It Shoulda Been You, and I thought like, oh God, it's another 3-day reading or so 29-hour reading, and I said, okay, well, you know what, it sounds fine, sounds good. And she said, no, I don't think you're understanding. She said, this is like an amazing thing. It's David Hyde Pierce directing and this incredible cast, these people who are sitting here now. This thing is like on Broadway. And I said, well, look, wow. I said, here's the thing. I said, I could pretend like I'm going to, call you back in like a day after I look at the material really carefully. But the truth is, I'm so excited to be working with all these people. I'm going to tell you, my agent, yes. Right now. Right now. I'm going to say yes right now. Okay? And I said, you can wait a day or two so they don't think I'm too over-eager. But that's how I came on board. And I made the right choice. It was a great decision.
Chip's choice.
Yeah.
Good job.
Chip's choices.
Chip's choices. I like
That's
that.
a hashtag. Please use it.
It is, yeah.
It really is. Chip
Well,
We
let's.
started that like the third day of rehearsal.
Yeah, we did. We said, Chip, what's your choice? And then became hashtag Chip's choices.
So you have to go on Instagram now. You have to do
Yeah.
social media, Chip.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying before, my kids don't want me to go on. They're embarrassed. And I don't know.
These are your
Afraid of
other
what-
kids, though, Chip.
Yeah, it's
we
true.
want you to go on.
Yeah.
I
Your view
love
of
it.
the world should really be on Instagram. It's a unique view.
Or a reality series you should have, totally. Oh my gosh. Chip's Choices on Broadway, or something like that. Well, let's talk about your director, David Hyde Pierce. Talk about working with him and what makes him such a great director.
Harriet?
No, you go.
All right, I'll start. David is so kind and compassionate. He knows how to talk to actors. He is so funny and very silly. And he's available. He's very, very approachable and available, in addition to being incredibly talented as an actor. Yeah.
He's got a sort of compass and a sensibility that I think that's so important, and it's kind of underrated. People talk about, talent or smarts, but David has a sensibility, and he approaches life this way, and he approaches his work and his friendships, and it really is almost like a moral standard or compass or something, and it's unerring, or at least it's self-correcting. Anything that and that's just very important, I think, when you're doing comedy, particularly, because you want the you want there to be bigger jokes and smaller jokes, but they all, it needs to exist in a world where these things don't pop out or don't become too trendy or too classical or anything, just that you've developed a world that makes sense. And he has done that with everybody. And we do have very different delivery and approach to work, but you'd never know it because we are all just allowed to work the way we work, and we all got on board with each other. I think from just the get-go. Yeah. I hit Lisa up for $10 when I hadn't seen her for 3 years.
It's the truth. We were walking into the 42nd Street studios, and she realized there wasn't coffee upstairs, and she goes, "Lisa, I need money." And I immediately said, "Okay, here." And she said, "I'll give you back." You know, she brought it to me the next day, and I literally hadn't seen it.
And I think Matthew Morrison was standing there too, and he just went. Yeah, they were sort of like, if she's hitting people up for money.
I'm getting out of the elevator now.
I trapped all you guys to have lunch with me the first day.
That's true.
I forced them all to
We
have
went to
lunch.
Chevy's,
Yeah.
you know, the classiest restaurant we could find.
I wanted to say about David too is you know it's always for me comedy kind of exists in a fun room, and the room was fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of what, and he knows about that because he's been through the same things that we've been through. So it was really a fun room, and I guess we mentioned that we all played volleyball, and one of the things he did, if it ever got even remotely tense or we got tired or we needed to re-energize ourselves, we had the silliest game of volleyball, which became horrendously competitive, but the object of it was that the last person to hit the ball over the net had to do it with their head. So we used a softball, relatively not a softball, but a soft beach ball like thing,
Yes.
and it was always a highlight, and it always took the pressure off of us in ways that was terrific. Were terrific.
Well, what I liked is that he created such an easy atmosphere that, as an actor, you felt free to make different choices. And because that's not always the case, you feel like, oh, I better get it right the first time, or he just created. It was safe. I felt like in that rehearsal room, and he would give you a direction, and you would try it, and if it didn't work, he'd be like, "Oof, ignore what I said. That was awful." You know, like it was okay for him to make a mistake or for us to make a bad choice, and you just moved on and you tried something, or you built on what you do, and it was just it was very freeing. I found. In my experience with him.
And because you respect him so much as an actor, then you immediately, anything that he said, you're like, yep, that's probably the best way to do it. Because it's just like, I watched you on Frasier this morning on WeTV, so that was right. Yep, I'll go with
I
that.
found myself saying, "Damn it, you're good."
You know, with so much comedy in this show, I'm sure you couldn't wait to take it out of the rehearsal room and add the audience into the mix.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, like any show, at some point, you really do need to put it in front of people. So they're the last installment, you know what I mean? Until you switch gears and move on to running the show, you know? So yes.
And especially for us, like the new kids for this, we had no idea how they were going to react. Whereas like these rocks were like, no, you guys, it works. I promise it works. And then sure enough, the first night, and we hear this, because it's every night we get this kind of response that's just insane. And I've never been a part of anything like that before. I mean, I'm known for my comedies.
There are more laughs in our show than Phantom. Okay? Just saying.
I just can't get
Just saying,
those
we
laughs.
think-
I keep going back. I keep wheeling myself back out, but can't get the laugh.
It's gotta be perfect. We can be perfect. Enough to make mom speechless. Well, nothing that extreme. A moment's peace would be a dream. We'll make it perfect. We're the perfect team.
Oh, look who's here. Where's your song?
Oh, look who's here.
Look who's here. I love this.
Look how nice you look.
Came from a wedding. Very meta.
Apparently.
I go to a wedding every day just to get in the character of my.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Burtka.
Hello.
No, keep it on.
This
It's
on?
No,
not
keep it
right
on.
It looks so cute.
We love this.
He's like,
Too late, sorry.
well, one thing I was going, oh, nice.
We were talking about what a wonderful director David Hyde Pierce is.
True.
What was it like working with him?
Great. You know, I don't know what was said, but what I loved with David was, because he's such an actor first and foremost, to see him put the other characters on. Like if we're at a 10-minute break or whatever, you could see him embody, you know, if it was a scene between me and Michael X. Martin, my dad, you could see him become me or become Michael and do the scene in his head like he's, you know, split personalities. But he would act it out and think, what are the best choices as an actor before he became the director watching it. He'd sort of embody it first. I thought that was really interesting. I've never seen a director do that.
I want to go back to the beginning for a second. Where did your love for performing begin, and what were your early creative outlets for each of you?
Chip.
Starting with me? I'm not at the front of any line here. I'm sort of just.
Just want to hear what started.
Well, for me, I was a boy soprano. I had a magnificent boy soprano voice, and I went to camp in Hayward, Wisconsin. Probably all of you have been there. It's the log rolling capital of the world.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I was very fortunate to play the lead in all those shows. I was Lola in Damn Yankees. I was Annie in Annie Get Your Gun, and then I was Liza in My Fair Lady, and then my mom made a phone call. She was furious that he's going to camp. It was a rugged camp, as you can well imagine, because I was there. And she said, shouldn't he be out on a canoe trip or camping, actually, as opposed to camping by wearing a wig and a dress? Never made that connection. But that's how I started. That was how I could sing. I don't know why I could sing. I don't know what happened, so that was my start.
I would do lots of shows with the neighborhood kids, puppet shows, and we would put on costumes. My grandma made tons of costumes at a big bin. And then as I got a little older in middle school, my dad was an educator for mentally and physically handicapped kids. And every summer he'd teach the summer program. And so my friends would get together and we put on the most elaborate plays and musicals and sing and dance, and we'd perform them for these handicapped kids. I mean, they had no idea what we were doing. But we had a lot of fun. So that was my outlet for it.
I started studying acting when I was 12. I had the great privilege of going to an incredible school and fell in love with the classics. We were doing them. We were recreating them. I was a 12-year-old with other 12-year-olds who were very serious artists. We they're totally talking about me right now.
Yeah.
And we put up our plays and we loved it. I remember one time in school, like my second or third year in the program, we were taking bows. We had done Beauty and the Beast and recreated it. We were so proud of it. We did all the costumes and the sets and the makeup design, so on and so forth. And we were taking our company bow and we did the upsweep, and all of our teachers and parents were out there and they were applauding, and I was holding the hands of my cast members. I remember thinking, I'm so happy right now. This is what I want to do.
I just always liked being in front of people. I was an ice skater for 10 years, and I would do competitions and stuff. I wasn't I always sang and things with my sisters, but I discovered loving being in front of people by performing through ice skating, and then that sport is so expensive. So then we had to stop, and then I guess the natural place to put me was in an acting class, and so that's where I went, and I just loved it because then everyone had to listen when I talk or sang.
I would sit in front of our record player and listen to show albums, The Sound of Music and Annie, and I would just sing and sing and sing. And my brothers were so annoyed at me, and I got the solos and the Christmas pageants and things like that. And someone said to my mom, maybe you should get her voice lessons. This was 5th or 6th grade. And so I did that, and then I ended up, I really started and found a love of performing because I did show choir, which was very big in Ohio, and I'm from Akron, Ohio, and I did show choir, and so I learned how to sing and dance and smile, and
Well, kind of.
Camp in Ohio.
Well, I didn't go to that one, but I could have. But no, I was in the ETC.
I was that good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But I was in the ETC All American Youth Show Choir, and it was like we had a whole week-long workshop in the summer, and you learn how to sing and dance and smile, and that's where that love started. And then I did my high school shows and things like that. But yeah, that's how I began.
And I began to overcome shyness. I was sent to a theater school. And you think that's funny? It was tough love. So it really was. Some of my mother's friends just said, Eleanor, your daughter, she's just backward. You've got to... She is not going to get anywhere like this, because it's just where in the town I grew up, everyone was very social. So I'm fairly reserved when I'm not doing the thing I do. So I like a context. I think rehearsal provides a context. The show provides a context. I love amusing people, and I love putting stories out in front of people and communicating that way. It's very. And from that sort of 6-year-old trying to learn how to relate to people, it's been a great way. It's been a great avenue, and probably the best course my life could have taken, I think. Although I think I would have been a good florist, too.
Yes.
But that would have been a more private...
I feel I would have been an amazing doorman. And I just said,
Wow.
I've always wanted
Yes,
to do.
'cause
I
you
love
have such
I love saying
disdain.
hi.
Yeah.
I'm so good at that. Come on in. I don't know. I love that.
I was-
You need an umbrella.
I was-
All that, anything like that.
It was your natural disdain and reserve that would make you such a good doorman.
Please come in.
That. You were out late again.
You all have these wonderful, diverse careers, so I'd like to talk about some of your highlights, and just tell me what comes to mind, a story or a memory. Okay? I'm going to start with Harriet. Your Tony and Drama Desk Award-winning role of Mrs. Mears in Thoroughly Modern Millie.
I saw it.
We were all
It
there.
was wonderful. I loved it. It was the first big musical I'd ever gotten to do. It really was sort of the first musical I ever did. So, although I did sing a line in The Italian Straw Hat, which was no cheese. I can probably do it. I'm not sure I can hit those notes anymore. So this was the first, that was the first one, and I didn't know anything about it. I still can't read music, although I do see now that it goes up and down. But when people are like going, this thing does this, or this, Schwarzando, or whatever, it's like, come on, what? It's like something you order in an Italian restaurant. I still don't know. So I am a handicap in some ways to a production, and because I am so completely ignorant in some ways, it's sort of like, oh, she's going to make the rest of us look so good. Let's have her. So I have lucked into getting to participate in this world a number of times, and it's been some of the most joyous times ever, because it's really, really fun, really talented people who can fly without a net, and it's just very different than what I thought my career would be, which was going to be in classical theater, where it really is much more on the page, and then so it's so much fun, and it's always, as it turns out, even when I've been a little unhappy, it's always been kind of a highlight to get to be in a group like this, and this is just the best as far as I'm concerned.
Chip, for you, creating the role of the baker in the original production of the Stephen Sondheim, James of Hyde musical, Into the Woods.
I don't remember. No, I'm kidding. I was the baker in Into the Woods.
Yes, you were.
Obviously one of the great, just an amazing, thrilling experience. And there's always, I think, an element of luck. I mean, literally, I was joking before, but I was not the first choice. I mean, it was actually Tom Hulse. I think they wanted Tom Hulse, but the movie of Amadeus had just happened, and he was unavailable. So I got a call for that saying they are completely lost. They don't have any idea who to cast. They wanted Tom Hulse. They can't get him, but they kind of are interested in you. I said, well, that's lovely. I was, at the time I was in L.A., I was doing a TV show, and Ira Weitzman ran the musical theater program at Playwrights Horizons, called me up. This is where Into the Woods started. And he said, they're going to ask you to come in and audition. If you come in, they may change their minds. He said, but if you don't come in, he said, I think they're going to hire you because they can't think of anyone else. I said, so you're asking me to lie my way. I'm going to stay here in LA, say I'm too busy to fly back for this great role. And he said, I think that's the way to play this. And so I actually lied my way into the Woods, which is a show about moral responsibility. And but I had done a couple of years before that a production of Merrily Roll Along. That's how I met Sondheim and Lapine, and I feel to this day to be like the luckiest guy in the world. I mean that my path crossed with. I was friendly with Lapine because of Falsettos and Playwrights Horizons, and I had this group of friends, and those guys got famous and successful and well known, and I had just kind of been part of their crowd. And so the luck of it always strikes me as being amazing, and the timing of it. And of course, it was an unbelievable experience. I mean, I won't go on too long, but I watched Sondheim, come in with music written in my key, spread it out on the piano, like, how they do on those pieces of paper all taped together, the music, and spreads it out, and it's kind of falling off either side. And I watched him sing a song which I love called No More for Into the Woods. And I turn around, and Paul Gemignani, who's a big bear of a guy who conducted all of the Sondheim shows for many, many years, it's just tears streaming down his face. And we all it was, it's just a glorious and unbelievable experience that I never would have imagined that I would have.
Sierra creating Ariel and becoming a Disney princess in the musical The Little Mermaid.
Yes, I did. Is probably one of my favorite things that is going to follow me around the rest of my life. I loved every thing that I possibly could learn from that experience, and that was just like aligning with when you're 7 years old in the tub pretending you're Ariel, and then 20 years later then you get to actually be her. It was like that thing that I like in kindergarten. I used to always wish that we could do The Little Mermaid, like for a play or something, and I was like, oh, but I don't have red hair because then I dyed it. But and also like then growing up, and then for the audition, I watched the cartoon to be like, why do we love her so much? Like, let me get real about it as an adult of like what it is that, like how she speaks, what it is about her. And I think my favorite thing now is that the letters that I receive and that I received while doing the show are from people who identify with her because they feel like they were born in the wrong body, or that nobody understands them, and that's who she represents. So it's like beyond, I love the Disney and the princess aspect of it, and that she's totally hot. But it's like, it's the really underlying thing, it's that a lot of people look to her because she made it. You know what I mean? And it's actually quite special. So every time that I sing Part of Your World, which is a lot of times, and I feel so lucky that that's the song I'll be asked to sing for the rest of my life, it's just, there's a lot of hope. So, yeah.
Montego, your Drama Desk and Outer Critics Circle Award-winning role of Felicia in the hit musical Memphis. Brilliant performance in that. Looking back, favorite memories of that?
Oh, gosh. Sitting down with David Bryan, who is our composer and a founding member of Bon Jovi, with David at the piano and listening to him sing Colored Woman to me for the first time, both moving and totally comedic. Wow. I remember going in to casting for the Broadway production. We're going to go out of town, of course, and then come in. And I'm sitting out in the hallway. I had been asked to come in and read with the boys. I had already been cast, and I had done the first reading, so I had been there from the beginning, which was thrilling in and of itself. And I remember the casting director coming out and saying, hey, Montego, you're going to read with this guy. His name's Chad. You guys have a look, and then come on in when you're ready. We went down the hall, and we read, and it was instant, like, ping. And we happened to have a kissing scene. And we kissed, And we pulled back, and I remember looking at him and going, wow, it's you. So we went in and we read, and it went great. And when we were done, I remember we were both just standing there in front of the whole creative team, just like, yeah, fast forward to opening night on Broadway. You know what I mean? And there we were at bows, like,
Lisa, your Drama Desk winning role of Rona, Lisa Peretti, in the William Finn musical, the 25th Annual Putnam Spelling Bee, directed by James Lapine.
Yeah.
Great time, wasn't it?
It was amazing. It was a whirlwind experience. I wasn't there when the concept came about, because it started with an improv company, just a small downtown improv company, and they said, let's do a show about a spelling bee. Everybody come up with a character, and we'll just do it about an improv show about a spelling bee. And so then Sarah Salzberg, who was in that improv company, it was Wendy Wasserstein's nanny. And so Bill Finn is good friends with her, came to see it, and she said, you need to make that into a musical. And so he did, and we did a workshop of it in February of 2004, and then that summer we did the production at the Great Barrington, up in Great Barrington, in a cafetorium. It was an elementary school cafeteria with a little stage, which is perfect. And then that fall, James Lapine came on as the director, and by the next February, we were on Broadway. From nothing, from no show, to opening on Broadway in a year. So compared to the 6-year process that it was to get, it just was whirlwind. And I think the neatest part was when we were doing, there's two parts that I love. First, when we were doing the workshop, and Bill Finn is writing a song for me, which ultimately got cut from the real production, but I had this big number mid-show. And, and he's at the piano, and he's singing, and he's doing another verse, and this is very Bill, he's big and gruff, and he's singing, and he's like, is anybody writing this down? And he's writing a song for me, for my voice.
David playing Tulsa opposite Bernadette Peters in the revival of Gypsy. Memories of that?
Right. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. There's good things and bad things to say about it. I don't want to say bad things. I don't want to say anything bad, but Sam Mendes had this clear vision of what it was supposed to be. And it was very much like Cabaret, this dark, dirty, seedy production where in the strip club, Cigar was feeling up the strippers, and he was adding swear words, and we were all in dirty costumes, and Dainty June was smoking cigarettes in the wings, and at the end, Bernadette was supposed to be in a not so flattering dress with mascara running down her face, and Arthur Lawrence came in and said, you can't do any of this. You cannot change my show. And so Sam was like, are you kidding me? This is my vision. This is what, to tell Sam Mendes you can't do something. I mean, he's an Oscar-winning director. It was a little sort of, what? Why are you screwing with our show, in a way? It ended up being great, and it ended up being an amazing experience for me to get to do that song every night. It's one of the best written songs in the musical theater songbook. But at the same time, it was kind of disheartening, too, to see Arthur Lawrence direct his own production with a lot of the things that Sam incorporated.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, and it's just they were at each other. I mean, there are open letters in the New York Times about how much they hated each other. It was crazy. But to have that happen, it was a little bit of a bummer.
My final question for all of you is, what's the best bit of advice that you've been given, personally or professionally, that you live by?
I'll start. We know mine.
I'm lost.
I was told at 17 years old by a teacher when I was taking a master class, she said, you are enough. You are so enough. It's unbelievable how enough you are. Meaning you don't have to do much. You don't have to add anything else. Just as you are, you're enough. And so that's become my mantra. And it's become, people know that now. And they at stage door will be like, you're enough. It's like, yes, so are you. And like, Chip likes to take that one and run with it. It's like, you're too much. You're so too much. But that.
I would have to say moisturize. No, I mean, I'd say just people in the past just say keep working, keep doing your thing. I mean, always jump into a production, always keep that wheel going. And there was a long period of time where I didn't. Now I feel like I just need to get back there as much as I can.
My father told me many, many years ago, and I've stood by it because it really works. He said, "Darling, don't let anybody pull you off your path." It sounds pretty simple. It sounds like, but it has proven extraordinarily useful and helpful advice, particularly when you do the kind of work that we do, particularly when you live in the metropolis that is New York City, and you're a participating member of the world and society. Be very clear about who you are and where you're going, and do not let anyone pull you off your path.
James Lapine actually said to me, he said, "Chip, you worry about so many things." Those of you who know me know I do. I worry about so many things. He said, "You know what would be good for you? Is just concentrate on the work. Just think about just the task, the simple task that you have in front of you, and let us worry about all the other stuff." And I feel in show business that's actually really, really good advice.
I don't know if it was necessarily someone sitting me down and giving me this specific advice, but I remember, I was first in New York and struggling, having jobs. I might have done a little regional theater here and there, and I called home and I said to my mom, if I moved home, would you think of me as a failure? And she said, "No, I think you're the bravest person I've ever met." And that fueled me to keep going, to just keep trying. keep at it. Keep, like you said, keep the wheel going and just continue to do what you love to do. And no matter what the outcome, just the trying means you didn't fail at it.
I can't think of any advice, but I can think of a lot of flaws I have, things that I need to watch out for. And it's I need to listen and realize that the other person is taking a very long time to formulate this idea, but let them have the time and just to try to stay open in a rehearsal situation. And if something goes wrong, really try to come back the next day and know that it's a new day.
I want to thank you all for one of the best and fun afternoons. It's been so great, so
Thank
insightful.
you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the company of It Shoulda Been You.
Something